since AI is being incorporated into everything at this point, we really have to understand the ethics of using AI in the workplace now. So what are the top 5 ethical issues surrounding AI at work? We're going to break that down for you right now. So the first one is bias and fairness, and we've talked about this issue before, but the core of this issue is how the algorithm is written and the training data used to train it. In order to make AI fair for all users and eliminate bias, we have to make sure that the algorithm doesn't contain code that preferences one group over another. This is especially the case in consumer applications, which companies are developing all day, every day now. But the other aspect is training data. So training data is key to fairness in the global marketplace. So the training data, for example, to train a chatbot should be neutral between men and women. It should be neutral as to accents. It should be neutral as to how well one particular person speaks versus another, etc. Those are good examples of how the data needs to be constructed in a way that promotes unbiased responses to all of your customers. So that's issue number 1 of the top 5 regarding ethics and AI in the workplace. The second is privacy and surveillance, and there's a lot of rules at the federal level here in the United States and also other countries surrounding this now. So here in the US, all companies are required to have a privacy policy on their website that talks about how data captured through the worksite will be protected, and also how data collected through phone calls and text messages and other ways of interacting with customers like WhatsApp or whatever it is. Privacy needs to be respected for everyone, which means they have to specifically opt in to phone calls. They have to specifically opt in to receiving text messages or WhatsApp messages or however you're communicating with your customers. Another aspect of privacy and surveillance using AI in the workplace surrounds individual employees' activities. So when you're on company time, you do not have the same right of privacy that you do, for example, in your home. Because you are on company time, the employer is paying you, and most likely they can review and analyze what you're doing. This issue came to the forefront during the pandemic when everyone had to temporarily go remote because many companies were watching what their employees did all day to make sure they were really working and not doing household chores or other things during that time. Now, of course, during the pandemic, the kids were at home too, so there was nothing to do about that. But surfing your personal social media account is different. The same holds true for remote workers now and all the people who have returned to the office, which is the great majority of people. So you don't have a very strong right of privacy at work on a work computer. You just don't. The one exception to that is confidential medical information. That's governed by HIPAA and has a whole different set of rules, so that is protected. But in general, companies are permitted to use AI and other advanced technologies to track what their employees are doing at work each day. The third issue that's been talked about a lot in the press is transparency and explainability. So this gets back to the fact that still not well understood even today how algorithms come to the decisions that they come to. Why? Because these algorithms now, by and large, are insanely complex with up to trillions of parameters, plus a monster data set that they've been trained on, and all of the data captured through use of the system and interaction at work. So there's just so much material there, it's difficult to know exactly how these decisions are made. This is the black box problem. But there are tools that have been invented in the last year to 18 months that provide transparency, at least more transparency, about how algorithms are working. And these can be attached to an AI tool that someone's using, and then there'll be a better sense of transparency and explainability in how the AI is coming to its decisions. That technology, by the way, that demystifies algorithms, if you will, is going to get better and better, just like AI is going to get better and better. Issue number 4, accountability and responsibility. So this is really talking right now about the human user of any AI tool, because as the user, it is your responsibility to make sure that the results that you get are correct and not filled with errors or biases, because biased decision-making criteria in business leads to wrong decisions. And those wrong decisions can significantly hurt a company depending on how critical those decisions are. So it's really, really important still that employees make sure to review all outputs that they get from algorithms at work for accuracy and fairness. The feedback from that process can be given to the IT department at work, who can then improve the algorithm. So this is actually a symbiotic circle that can drive improvement in algorithms that companies use to interface with customers or vendors. So accountability and responsibility are important, and it's the human's responsibilities to do that. And number 5, the core issue that drove the creation of the AI guide here: job displacement and impact on workers. So this is where it gets very interesting. I've been a senior corporate executive for 20 years now. So I'm going to make 2 or 3 statements that are true about every single company and illustrate how competing interests need to be balanced to do this properly. So the first comment is all corporations pursue efficiency. Why? Efficiency directly increases profitability. And if it's a public company or even private equity owned and not losing money, the stakeholders care very deeply about monthly profit numbers. I can personally attest to that. So that drive for efficiency obviously can have an impact on employees when an AI is used to automate a function that an employee used to do, and either eliminate that employee completely or cause that employee to be moved to a different job function. Now, obviously, for the employee getting moved to a different job function, even though not necessarily desirable, is way preferable to a straight up layoff. The degree to which a company can do that is based entirely on the aptitude of the employee to do something different that the company wants them to do. So that is a subjective evaluation. It always has been. That has nothing to do with AI. But what does have to do with AI, as I've said over and over again on this channel, is very significant automation is coming. All the people creating this cutting-edge AI now say that it's going to hit white-collar workers first, before blue-collar workers. And the people it's going to hit dead last are the people who have to do things that require the human touch for the foreseeable future. That's why I keep bringing up those occupations, to give you the longest possible runway until, at the end state, virtually everything is automated, which will happen within 20 years from now. So by 2045, virtually all jobs will be automated. That does not mean there won't be jobs, because new jobs doing entirely new things will be created along the way. The great unknown is the ratio between new jobs created and those who are laid off. It is my opinion and proposition that this is the first revolution where the new jobs created will not balance out the layoffs. Will not. Which is why you want to perform well at work, so that you're one of the last to be laid off. This AI revolution, in my opinion, is fundamentally different in critical ways because of the other exponential technologies that are tied directly into AI, like robotics and sensors. So this is completely different. And then finally, my final comment is most companies prioritize profitability and sales, right? So then it takes an act of will by a company to accept some degree of lower profit to keep more people employed. And believe me, there are those companies out there. I've worked for some of them, but many are not like that. So in a perfect world, you find a job doing what you like to do with a company that more equally weights employees versus stockholders and customers. And there are those companies out there. So those are the 5 things: bias and fairness, privacy and surveillance, transparency and explainability, accountability and responsibility, and job displacement and worker impact. These are the key ethical issues surrounding AI today and for the next X years, unknown. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. Please send these videos to your friends and suggest that they subscribe to this channel or check it out. I really appreciate your help doing that. Also, we need financial support on either Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee to help us continue to grow the channel, to be able to help prepare more and more people for the automation wave that is now upon us. And we will start to see the effects of this in the job numbers this year, modestly, but by 2028, significantly. So thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.